Oh, no. No.
Hey everyone, Mighty Mr. Mooresky here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, there's a reason for the change in the intro and why you didn't see me before the intro. And that's because I just wanted to put that across as when you've seen Rick there from The Walking Dead crying and sobbing. I know a lot of people have taken the mick out of it and have done memes and stuff like that, but that is genuinely my reaction to what I'm about to talk about. And the reason behind the change in music for the intro kind of animation. You could probably figure out what it is if you've heard anything on social media or even if you've seen what I'm about to talk about. So first up, I want to say there's a spoiler warning right here. This is your spoiler warning, okay? I'm going to give you 5 seconds from when I say to basically shut off this video, to stop watching when I start counting down, go and watch Walking Dead Season 7 premiere, and then come back and pay attention to the video, and you'll probably figure out why I'm doing this. Okay, so, spoiler warning is coming in now, so you got 5 seconds starting now. There's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you have been warned now. I mean, I got a timer here. I could have just gone by that. You have been warned, so if this does spoil your viewing, it's your own fault. It's not mine. Alright, I'm not putting it in the title or in the description, so if you click on this because you're a subscriber or you've just come across this, you're not going to get spoiled by the title. I'm not comicbook.com. Yes, I just took the mickey a bit there. So anyway, Walking Dead Season 7 premiere kicked off last night. Well, in the States, it arrived on the 23rd. Here in the UK, we got it about 2:30 this morning. It's Monday morning. We got it about 2:30. I got it recorded, which I didn't even realize. I was going to set it to record today, because it's on at 9 o'clock. Or actually, no, it's on at 10 o'clock, sorry, on Fox, the channel Fox on Virgin Media. It's probably the same for Sky. And I've got The Talking Dead because I want to see what they say about it. So we had, let's backtrack a little bit. So we had season 6, and it ended on one hell of a cliffhanger. We had Negan, um, his first appearance. We'd had name drops earlier in the season, but we finally saw Negan. Now, I'm maybe a little bit biased because, well, I didn't read the Walking Dead comics. I've only just started collecting the graphic novels. I probably will end up collecting them all, but that's going to take quite some time. So I got the first 3 volumes, and so as I said, I'm maybe biased, but I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan is absolutely amazing as Negan. He's just so, I think he's worse than the governor. That's what I'm getting, that he's worse than the governor, and the governor was, one evil son of a, well, yeah, he was one evil son of a bitch. Um, So Negan already gives off that impression that he is worse. And let's face it, Lucille looks lethal. Um, Baseball bats or clubs with barbed wire, they've been used for centuries. I mean, even soldiers in the First World War used them. Let's see Battlefield 1 put that in. So they are quite threatening to look at. Baseball bats, scary enough. Having it in barbed wire, that's even more scary. So we have Rick, Maggie, Abraham, um, Eugene, Glenn, Carl, Daryl, and a couple of others, I can't remember their names. They were all knelt right in front of a camper van, or RV as it's called in the States, and out comes Negan and gives this speech, and then says, you know, because you killed one of my guys, I gotta kill one of yours. And just goes on to the whole eeny, meeny, miny, mo before selecting his victim. Now, when we saw season six's final episode, we saw him select the victim, but it was from first person. We didn't know who he selected. And then he brings the bat down. The camera looks back up, and we get the blood streaming down the camera, and then he whacked again. End of the season. Sorry if the sound went there, but there's Facebook. Actually, I'll probably mute it. There we go. So he does that, and we know someone is dead. Someone's done. A lot of people suspected who I'm going to talk about. And a lot of people didn't want it to be this person. But it was flying through our minds because, you know, oh, they're going to follow the comics. No, they're not. They haven't followed the comics perfectly. They've done a couple of scenes, a couple of lines from the comics, but they haven't copied it exactly. You know, Shane died later in the TV series than he did in the comics. But yeah, going off in a bit. So it was a long time waiting and wondering who got bludgeoned by Lucille. And then it rolled around. We saw the results of Negan's bat. We saw the bloody results. And then it started puzzling us again. Who got it? Who got taken out? And for a while there was actually rumors there was more than one death in that episode. I can tell you there were. If you haven't seen the episode, I'm putting it across there. There were more than one death. If you haven't seen the episode, what are you still doing here? Go and watch the episode and then come back. But then I think it was debunked. They were saying, you know, one death is enough, but there are two deaths. So as the episode comes in, we then get back to the lineup and we see him doing the eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Who does he select? Well, he selects Abraham first. That was a curveball. A lot of people thought, oh, it's going to be Glenn. Glenn's going to get it. Glenn's dead. But that was a curveball. They chose Abraham first, and they beat his head in. But they didn't kill him just yet. He gave us one last Abraham one-liner, and that was "suck my nuts," and then his head was just totally demolished by Lucille. And of course, this ticked Daryl off, and of course, he attacks Negan, and this angers him, which then leads him to do the same to Glenn. So a lot of people were thinking, oh, Glenn's safe, Glenn's fine. And then he turns and beats him. Now, there's a panel in the comics where it happened, where Glenn has just had the impact of Lucille on his head, and his one eye is bulging out from the impact. It's quite grotesque in the comics. To see it on the TV show, it's even more gruesome. It's stomach churning, near enough. And of course, he's trying to talk, but he's slightly inhibited. He's slightly unable to because of just the sheer force of having the baseball bat to the head. You see the dent in his head, the imprint left, and then he gets the rest. His head is caved in. And yeah, I was shocked when Abraham was killed, and I was tearing up. When Daryl lunged for Negan, I thought, oh no, Daryl's gone. Daryl's dead. But he survived, and Glenn took it. I think what made it even more gross was when Glenn's headless body is lying there, his hand is still moving, it's twitching. And then it carries on with the episode. And Maggie, you can see Maggie is torn up. Maggie has had a terrible time on the show. I mean, yeah, Rick has lost his best friend, he's lost his wife, he's lost quite a few friends over the 6 seasons. Um, but Maggie has lost a lot. She's lost her entire family. Out of the entire Green family that we met in season 2, she's the only one that's left. Beth died season 5 or season 6, something like that. And that was the last time I actually cried watching the show. Any deaths that came afterwards of characters we were meant to root for, I didn't really care. Like Denise. Yeah, she started a relationship with one of the main cast. Yes, she gave, well, depending on your point of view, she gave a good speech. And then she got an arrow to the back of the head, right out the eye, and died. I wasn't cut up about that, I didn't like her. And the same for Sam and his brother. When they died, no. Because, I mean, Sam was useless. And the same for Lizzie, I think it was, the little girl who killed her sister, wanting her to come back and saying, they're not all bad. She was demented. So I wasn't upset when she was killed. It may sound cruel, but that's it. Um, but yeah, Maggie's lost every single one of her family. Her dad, her brothers, her sisters, everyone. She's the only green left. And apparently she's got some story arc that she had in the comics where she went to Hilltop and had her baby. I think she had her baby in the comics. If not, that's what she's going to do. She'll go to Hilltop and have her baby, Herschel Jr. or something. Um, but yeah, my God, I was crying. I was bawling my eyes out. What you saw at the start of this video with Rick, that was genuinely my reaction, complete with the sound effects. I was just sobbing and sobbing because Glenn, yes, I'd heard he was killed in the comics, and I know that when it comes to these comic book adaptations, they don't do it 100% because if you do it 100%, then you know what's going to happen, and it doesn't leave a lot for creativity. That's why Daryl's in the show. That's some creativity. It throws almost like a spanner in the works. You think, oh, this story's going to play out like this. Hang on, here's something that wasn't in the comics. And all the stuff with Andrea being with the governor, that wasn't in the comics. Um, but yeah, I knew about Glenn's death. I knew about his fate, but I thought, they're not going to go with him. And in fact, the whole time between season 6 and season 7, I thought they're not going to kill Glenn. They're going to kill someone else. There was a lot of evidence that was supporting Abraham being killed. I wanted he was, I can't remember his name, but he was on the line. He was right next to Eugene. I didn't care if he died because, well, I think he was one of the Alexandrians. If he died, so what? But any of the others, I would have been distraught. Rick, I knew wasn't going to die because, well, he's the main character. Um, I know it's some films and TV shows have killed the main character, but you know what I mean. But yeah, Glenn's been with us since season 1. He's the one that saved Rick when he was trapped in that tank, and he's changed. He was originally the runner. He'd run into Atlanta, get supplies. He would vomit at the idea of being covered in Walker entrails. By the time we got through all those seasons, he'd been beaten up, duct taped to a chair, and still was able to take on a Walker and win. And he's been able to hold his own, but now he's gone. He's had his head caved in by Negan, and he's not coming back. Neither's Abraham. Um, and it begs the question: how are they all going to survive? Rick's seen this countless times. How's he going to cope having to work for Negan? How's Carl going to cope considering that he nearly had his hand sliced off by his own father? How's Maggie going to cope now that her child is going to be born and raised without a father? Um, how's I forget her name. The one chick that was with Abraham. How's she going to cope knowing that Abraham's dead? It's just you don't know. And are they going to rise up against Negan? Are they going to fight him? Is Rick really going to kill Negan? Um, is, you know, there's just tons of questions out there. And this happens with every TV show we watch, every movie we watch, anything that's based off a comic, something like this. We always question it. You know, we always have tons of questions. I think a lot of us are thinking, you know, why Glenn? Please, why did it have to be Glenn? But there we go. It's been done. There's no going back. And yeah, we just carry on with the season. It was a good premiere. It was a really good premiere. Um, and can't wait for the next episode, which is next Monday for UK fans. So Halloween, and that's pretty much it. So let me know what you thought of this video. Leave a comment down below. Are you saddened by Glenn and Abraham's death? Did you cry when they died? Or did you not like them? In which case you were probably cheering that they were gone. What do you think of Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan? Do you think he's done a good job so far? Do you think he's worse than the governor? Are we in for more bloodshed? You know, leave your thoughts and comments down below. Leave a like rating if you enjoyed this video. Add it to your favorites if you want to. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this, more geek stuff, comics, Comic-Con, cosplay, and other comic book movies and TV shows. Hit that subscribe button. And until the next video, I've been Mighty Mr. Mooresky. Y'all have a nice day.